Hey English 1102 friends, this is a video guiding you through two of the conflict and combat poems. They are both by Yusef Komunyakaa. You see him right there. He is from Louisiana. He served in the Vietnam War, and a lot of his early poetry is about his experiences in the Vietnam War. He was born in 1947, so he's a little bit older now, but he is still alive as I'm making this video, thankfully. His most famous poem, one of the two poems we're going to talk about is his clearly most famous poem, which is called Facing It. We're going to start with the other poem of his, We Never Know. And the reason we're going to start with this is We Never Know is a poem about combat experience, and you see somebody die in combat in this poem. Facing It is much more about after the war and carrying what happens with you after the war is over. So we'll do the actual combat experience poem first, and then we'll jump to Facing It. He danced with, this is We Never Know, he danced with tall grass for a moment like he was swaying with a woman. Our gun barrels glowed white hot. And so the image that he starts off with right here is this enemy soldier being just torn apart as the speaker and other soldiers are shooting him. He danced with tall grass for a moment. That's just him getting ripped apart by bullets. Our gun barrels glowed white hot, the barrels of the guns getting hot because they're shooting so much. When I got to him, a blue halo of flies had already claimed him. So this guy falls and dies, and the flies are already on his body. I pulled the crumbled photograph from his fingers. And so this guy has died, laid there and died holding a photograph. We can assume it's of somebody that he loved, his wife or his mom or somebody back home. There's no way to say this. There's no other way to say this. I fell in love. And so he looks at the guy's picture and sees, the person that the guy loved, the wife or the mother or the girlfriend or whatever, and is like, oh, she's beautiful. The morning cleared again, except for a distant mortar and somewhere choppers taking off. And so the speaker in the poem has this moment where he gets to the other soldier's dead body and looks at the picture that he was holding as he died. And he has this sort of sad moment and is like, oh, that is, a pretty mom or a pretty girl. I slid the wallet into his pocket and turned him over so he wouldn't be kissing the ground. And so the speaker knows there's nothing he can do for the person in the picture or for this dead soldier. He just rolls his body over so he's not just face down in the mud, but that's really all he can do for him. So all you get in this picture is this little moment from combat where he sees an enemy soldier get killed. He rolls him over so he's not face down in the mud, but then there's nothing more he can do. He just has to go on. He sort of takes this moment to respect this part of this guy's life that he was looking at, that's shown in the picture. But the guy's life is over, and all he can do for him is, roll his body over so he's not just face down in the mud. And then he has to go on. So you just get this little moment, and then it's over. Facing It is very different. It is also about a moment, but it is very clearly about a post-war moment. And this poem is also about the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. See if we can get that pulled up here. And you can see it right here. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall is this sort of L-shaped wall on the big National Mall, on the big lawn in Washington, D.C. And it's a black wall with these gray names on it. And what it is, it's the names of every American soldier who died in the Vietnam conflict, chronologically, so like starting in the early 1960s and going into the 1970s. You can see too, and this becomes important in the poem, it's this really highly reflective wall, so you can see you see the reflection of things in it. He plays with that a lot in the poem. You can see this Vietnam veteran saluting it here in this picture. Let's see if we can get an overhead. You can see here's a nice close-up of the names on the wall here. And here is the poem. You can easily Google the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall and find it if you want to look at it more or know more about it. The middle of it, in the sort of crook of the L, is about 10 feet tall because there's so many more names in the 1968, 1969, 1970, the years when so many soldiers from the United States were dying in Vietnam. My black face fades, hiding inside the black granite. So right there you see him, Yusef Komunyakaa is black, the wall is black, and so he imagines himself sort of fading into it. I said I wouldn't, damn it. No tears, I'm stone, I'm flesh. Again, him sort of playing with the idea of being inside the wall and what that means. My clouded reflection eyes me like a bird of prey. Again, seeing himself in the wall, seeing his reflection. The profile of night slanted against morning. I turn this way, the stone lets me go. I turn that way, I'm inside the Vietnam Veterans Memorial again, depending on the light to make a difference. So again, if you've ever stood in front of like something that's really reflective, like the windows of your car, you turn a certain way and you can see your reflection, you turn a different way and you're sort of out of it, you can't see your reflection. He's playing with the idea of being inside the wall or not. I go down the 58,022 names, that's the number of names on the wall, half expecting to find my own in letters like smoke. That half expecting to find my own, that feeling that some part of him got left behind in Vietnam, that some part of him even might have died there. I touch the name Andrew Johnson. I see the booby traps white flash. You know, he touches this name on the wall and remembers seeing this guy die. Names shimmer on a woman's blouse, but when she walks away, the names stay on the wall. Again, him playing with the reflection, like being on one side of the wall means you can't ever leave. Being on the other side means you can just walk away. Brush strokes flash, a red bird's wing cutting across my stare, the sky, a plane in the sky. A white vet's image floats closer to me, then his pale eyes look through mine. I'm a window, he's lost his right arm inside the stone. So another Vietnam veteran walks up to him, they're both looking into the wall, and the guy lost his arm in the war. And Komunyakaa treats that like his arm is inside the wall now, like the wall is this black hole where everything that got lost in the war gets sucked into, goes into. It's like on being on one side of the wall is things that are gone in the war, things that got lost in the war. In the black mirror, a woman's trying to erase names. No, she's brushing a boy's hair. And so he sees this woman's reflection and she's making this motion. And in the reflection on the wall, it looks like she's trying to erase names, which you obviously can't do. But then he turns and looks and no, she's just messing with her kid's hair. She's making that motion of, brushing the kid's hair. And so he ends on this image of being on one side of the wall, you're alive and doing things like brushing your kid's hair. Being on the other side of the wall, you're gone and can't come back. You're in the black, you're in the dark because you got lost in the war. The war took you. And so what you get right here is him sort of facing this wall and thinking about all the things that the Vietnam War kind of swallowed, that it's like this black hole that a bunch of things that took in a bunch of things, including this guy's arm and this other friend of his who he remembers seeing dying. Hopefully that helps you understand both of these Yusef Komunyakaa poems, We Never Know and Facing It, one about this war, this moment during the war, one about after the war and seeing the memorial wall. If you got questions about either of these or about Komunyakaa, just be in touch. Otherwise, I hope this is helpful to you. Thanks.